Why the explosion in the interest? I know that's kind of a large question, but from a creative standpoint, because you gentlemen saw this interest before it became, a nightly news topic.
Well, drones are cool, right? It's probably the most versatile new tool in the film business that's come in quite since the Steadicam, probably. The opportunities that aren't maybe not all here quite yet are pretty huge. It allows people to put cameras in interesting places that they couldn't put them before. We can fly higher than a crane and lower than a full-size helicopter. We can move things, very quickly. So it opens up a whole lot of opportunity. But everyone's sort of figuring out, what are the killer shots that you can do with a drone. We haven't got into it yet, but all our hands, at least one hand is tied behind our back with the current FAA regulations that we're required to follow here in the U.S. Some of the big ones is we have to stay under 55 pounds all in, right? That our aircraft have to be, when we're in the U.S., have to be under 55 pounds. So we can fly much bigger cameras and lenses, technically, but legally we can't. So that limits us a little bit. We can fly a lot longer if we could put more batteries on, but then we're over 55 pounds with the lens that you want. So there's a lot of artificial limitations that are regulatory that we're working our way through and are changing fairly rapidly. So again, to beat the dead horse, really encourage you guys to call us, because what we say today could change, literally could change tomorrow with the FAA having a new announcement. Yeah. Even my regulations have gotten a little more lenient than when I got the first exemption 9 months ago. It hasn't even been that long. Mm-hmm. The rules are changing pretty quickly, and we'll probably have some big changes coming up in the next year. Yeah. And when you're not flying in the U.S., if you're going offshore, the rules are completely different. Some of them are even more restrictive, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. So it's changing so quickly. The options are so wide open. Every case is different. You just got to walk through it at that time.
You mentioned the Steadicam, and I think I'm just barely not old enough to have been. My agent tells me about when that came out. I was working as a PA. I wasn't paying attention to camera things, but everything that's been related to me is that it's a really similar trend that's going on right now, where you have a lot of people going in. They see this rig, it's cool, it's fun, it's changing. People have all these ideas about how it's going to revolutionize all the shots they're doing, where it's been scaled back a little bit now, and people can know when that's the tool to use. And they're great tools that are on most camera trucks, and they get pulled out all the time. When drones are going to be that way, where you can pull them off the camera truck eventually and do that with them. But right now, it's in that infancy stage where I think everybody wants to use one. They don't know why they want to use it, but they want it. And then you also, unfortunately, have a lot of people coming in who are peripheral people in the business, and I've heard stories, and maybe these aren't literally the true, but it's like the craft service guy buying a Steadicam rig and saying, I'm going to be a Steadicam operator, and then weeding through that for qualifying people. But the safety factors are exponential now. I mean, even though these are everybody says they're safer than a large aircraft. I beg to differ on some counts. They don't have redundant systems. They've got plenty of propellers going really fast, and they're intimate tools, so now they're right next to your head, where everybody knows to stay the hell away from a helicopter usually. So you've got a lot of people getting into this field that it's tough to work out who's qualified and who should be in this field. And the exemptions, Tom paved the way with that first exemption, and we were the company right after him, and we did a ton of work. It was months and months and months that one of our partners, Kevin, did. And now I heard, just the other night, I heard you can hire a law firm, and it's a $500 process now. And so you can imagine what door that's going to open up when you can, tear the thing out of the back of a magazine, I guess, and mail it in, right? It'll evolve, and it'll get past that. Right now, you're in that phase, though. So just be aware, you're in the fad moment of it, and that's got some challenges.
I've got to jump in on that Steadicam. So when Steadicam came out, that was the hottest toy, and everybody wanted to do their entire movie on a Steadicam. And we're in an environment right now that everybody wants to use drones, but instead of having a Steadicam that was Garrett Brown's wonderful invention, now we have a Steadicam on the professional level, and then we have these $500 Amazon things that are craft service and are no offense to PAs, kids are trying to get into business, are buying, and we're all lumped up in the same category. When you do aerials with the full scale, the airplane's been maintained flawlessly. Pilots have thousands of hours of safety. They've gone through all kinds of training. They go under rigorous training all the time. Aircraft, the equipment that we use. Now you can go to a toy store and buy a drone and show up on set without any of that safety knowledge, any of that FAA knowledge, any of the production knowledge that we grew up in. So it's really critical that when you guys hire us or hire a company, that you need to look at what the credentials of people who are going to show up on your set and fly these flying Cuisinarts over your set.
The